You made it lock in. Court lights flicker, I'm feeling that tip-off fever. NBA dreams spin tight like a crossover sleeper. Fourth and inches in the cold, crowd breathing like smoke. NFL grit in my voice when the pressure get woke. Engine scream through the night, that F1 razor. Lines cut clean, turn sharp like a hometown savior. NASCAR drift in my blood when the pace gets wild. I talk speed like a veteran, move calm like a smile. Legends born out of sweat, out of heartbreaks echo. I break plays down smooth, call the game like a maestro. Every lane that we touch, every story we show, this is where the truth runs. The Not Bland Show. Fast, race, whole crowd froze. Big drives, deep shots, watch the moment explode. Every angle hit heavy with a champion's glow. Step into the kingdom, the Not Bland Show.
Lock in.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you made it. Let's get locked into the Not Bland Show. I am your host, DJ Bland. If you are new here, or even if you're not, let's like this show. Let's share this show. This is our wild card weekend playoff preview here on the Not Bland Show. And we're going to go through every game that we have here, and we're going to break it down, and I'm going to give you my picks on who I think are probably going to win this game. I think for the first time ever, we are in a football season where from 1 to 7 have flaws. None of these teams are perfect, and I believe these teams that are in the playoffs, AFC and NFC, they all have a probability of being beat. There's no juggernaut here. There's no 3 years ago, Kansas City Chiefs. There's no 2 years ago Philadelphia Eagles. Or even last year, I should say. No dominant team here in this particular 2025 season. Looking forward to seeing how all this plays out. And we'll start right from the jump with the first game that we will have. It will be your 4:30 game on Saturday. It will be the Los Angeles Rams at the Carolina Panthers. I like both of these teams. They're very different in how they are made up. You look at the Los Angeles Rams, they are a team that defensively can be a real booger to deal with. They have all the pieces, but they don't always put them together week after week. Offensively, they can be explosive. They can hit you for the big play, the explosive play on a regular. They run the ball considerably well. Matt Stafford is pretty efficient with the football. And, coming into this, if you're just looking at the two, you would think that the Rams would have the advantage. And maybe slightly. This Carolina Panthers team is pretty much scrapped, clawed, and fought to get to this point. And they sat home and got a chance to get a home playoff game. But let's not be fooled here. Bryce Young and Rico Dowdle, all those guys have really stepped up and made plays. I feel like Bryce has really been a better manager of the game. And he has done things to really put his guys in position to be able to make plays and do that pretty efficient. When we look at these two teams, we're going to start with the Rams offense and, and looking at the Panthers defense from a number standpoint. When it comes down to efficiency, overall passing efficiency for the Los Angeles Rams, second. That defensive of passing efficiency is 24th. And we'll get into why that's a little bit unnerving if you're a Carolina Panthers fan. Overall rushing efficiency, 5th in the league. In the Panthers are 21st. Overall pressure rate, 32 for the Panthers. Second offense, second for offense when you're talking about the Rams. Those numbers don't sound that great. You look at the Panthers offensively, 25 in pass efficiency. Their defense of the Rams, 19th in rushing efficiency, 15th. And that's kind of where the weakness is, I think, with the Los Angeles Rams football team on defense. And the pressure rate, 25, and they are 5th. So they bring the heat. They can get there, and it seems like this team's not too good at handling pressure when we look at this. So let's look at the offensive side of the football for the Los Angeles Rams. There's one thing we've learned with this football team, and it started around, I believe it was week 6. They like to run a lot of 13 personnel. And when they run that 13 personnel, which if you're not familiar what 13 personnel is, it is 1 running back, 3 tight ends, and 1 wide receiver. It's a pretty heavy formation. And it's usually used in goal lines, but they also use it in short yardage and what this team likes to do a lot of, and that's play action shots down the field. A lot of these 13 personnel formations were used without Puka Nacua, who you see here, and Devontae Adams. So they really have had success outside of always having Nacua or Adams on the field. This 13 personnel has been used about 73% of the time for the Rams, and they have had great success. They're averaging out of 13 personnel over 4.3, or their offense is averaging 5.9 per play out of 13 personnel. That's higher than the average of 4.3 throughout the league. And when you start talking about, them defenses bringing in players, and sometimes in that 13 personnel, a lot of people like to put 5 defensive backs out there. Why? Because you want to try not to have with those 3 tight ends, they're trying to generate a mismatch with linebackers. So you counter that with guys who are lengthy, who have a little bit more speed sideline to sideline than your linebackers. And they average 7.1 yards per play out of 13 personnel when teams put 5 defensive backs on the football field. You know what the league is averaging? The league is averaging 4.2 yards per play. Says a lot, man. They're having great success with that. And as you know, as we pictured there, Puka Nacua has had one heck of a year. And really, Devontae Adams has had a good year. And I like what they do as far as running the football. It's pretty balanced. And then they kind of lull you to sleep with trying to run the football, and then they hit you with a big shot with Puka Nacua, or they'll hit you with a big shot with the running back coming out of the backfield, or they'll hit the seam with the tight end. This is going to be a tough game for the Panthers to have to defend this football team. The Panthers, what I do like about them, they are gritty. The numbers don't indicate that, but they have done a fairly good job on defense when it comes down to, trying to do what you can to limit your opponent from getting the big play. So, we look at the Panthers defense. They allowed a league low of 5.3 yards per attempt when defending under center play action, pass. That's good numbers. The fewest allowed, I think, by defense since it was basically the 2023 Browns with 5.1. Weird, right? A Browns team, no offense, but they can stop people. Kind of strange, but they're pretty much the only team that can do that. So those numbers really vote well. Like we talked about, 5 defensive backs on the field, 7.1. And then you talk about with 13 personnel, they were averaging 4.7 over 4.5. So averaging 5.1, not bad. Not bad for a defense that really needs to be on their P's and Q's when it comes down to, recognizing keys, maintaining gaps, and not trying to be the hero and leaving lanes for, Matthew Stafford to have clear paths to throw. You know, Matthew is pretty much a stationary guy. He's not going to go anywhere. He's not going to run anywhere. But he is super efficient with finding the guy in a chaotic situation to get the ball to. But you also can rush him a little bit, and he will give you a few. Now, he doesn't let it phase him, but he will give you a few. So it'll be interesting to see this defensive and offensive matchup for the Panthers and Rams. Now, when you look at this Panthers offense, I'm really loving what this guy's doing here, Bryce Young. Had a little bit of a struggle bus, seasons coming into the league. Really didn't have good leadership to help him and bring him along. Now, really starting to find and get his feet as a player and as a quarterback in this league. And he's done an excellent job of managing the game for the Carolina Panthers. You look at the Panthers offense, converted all 3 of their 4th down attempts against the Rams in week 13, with Bryce Young completing both of his 4th down passes for 76 yards and 2 touchdowns. So really nice stuff there. Those passes traveled 19 of 22 yards in the air, respectively, and making Young the second quarterback to complete multiple downfield touchdown passes on 4th down in a single game, during the next-gen stat era, which has been since 2016. I really like their wide receivers as well. What's going to be key for them is getting Rico Dowdle involved in running the ball quickly. And time of possession means everything. The way to counter an explosive offense is to keep their butts on the sideline and watch you on offense as you methodically matriculate the ball down the field to get points on the board. And you have to score 7. This cannot be a field goal game at all. They have to put more 7s or more touchdowns on the board then, because we all know the extra point is not a given. So we'll say you have to at least get 6 points on the board versus 3 all day, every day against this explosive offense. At the end of the day, though, they're going to have to play a collective game and a flawless game. Can't have penalties, can't have setbacks, can't have these 4th and long or 3rd and long situations, because this Rams defense operates very well in 3rd and long situations. And that cannot happen. They are excellent at shutting you down in 3rd and long. So they're at home. That's a plus. The crowd will be raucous because this hadn't been a playoff game, I don't think, since Cam Newton was playing. So they're going to be hyped. But at the end of the day, I think with this is a 10.5 point. They have them as a 10.5 point favorite, which I'm very surprised at that. But I'm going to go with the Los Angeles Rams. I just think experience is going to be a big key here, mostly in these situational moments and within a playoff game where, the pressure's a little bit higher. I think they will compete well, though. I don't see this being a blowout. I think they will compete for most of this game. But at the end of the day, I think it's Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay who come out with the victory here in a game that I think will be entertaining. Let's move on to our Sunday night or Saturday night game. And this game is interesting because you have the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. 2 teams who now will have seen each other 3 times. And we all know how this works. Bears are a 1.5 point favorite. And I know people are talking about the Packers being an underdog. And look, man, like I don't, when you're a 1.5 point favorite or you're a 3 point favorite, like it's basically even. And Larry says, go Rams. I have the Rams going to the Super Bowl here. Blake, doing great, man. Doing great. Really excited about football tonight. As we have college football tonight, we'll have Miami and Ole Miss, and then we'll have the the NFL games on Saturday. We'll have Friday, we'll have the other playoff game, but I'm looking forward to that. Football starts tonight. Monday Morning Racer. He says, Cowboys for the Super Bowl in 2027. Is Jerry selling the team? If Jerry doesn't sell the team, I don't see it. It would be nice, though, at least for Cowboys fans. I don't know about Commanders fans, but at least for Cowboys fans. But this game is going to be very interesting, and I think it's going to be a chess match. I personally am not a fan of teams facing each other 3 times because you know each other so well. And it's going to really come down to who makes the big mistake, who makes the fumble inside their own, side of the field that gives the offense a short field and a quick touchdown or a quick point. I know. I got you on that one. And it's going to be about who gets the pick 6. That's the big issue with this game. It's going to be that tight. That's why they have it as 1.5 points for favorite for the Chicago Bears. I don't know what the weather's going to be like, but I would assume there's going to be some wind involved at Soldier Field. This one will be on Prime Video, by the way. I want to remind you guys of that. This will not be on your regular stations. This one is on Prime Video. Not a fan of that, but okay, this is where we are. When you look at efficiency, Packers offense, 3rd efficiency in passing, defense for the Bears, 15th. You look at the rushing efficiency for the Packers, 23 and 22. So that's even pretty much there for, defenses and offensive rushing efficiency. Pressure rate, 21 and 27. So they don't get much rush and they don't handle it very well. So there's no advantage on the opposite side with the Bears offense and Packers defense when it comes to pressure rate. They say there's no advantage according to next gen stats, 7th and 9th respectively. Rushing efficiency, 3rd for the Bears, 16th for the Packers, 12th passing, 22 defense Packers. That obviously Bears offense favorite in both rushing and passing efficiency. Look, both of these defenses are porous at best. They can get you stops, but they're kind of a bend, don't break, hoping you make a mistake, hoping that you get a false start, an illegal formation, not enough men on the line, some type of penalty that puts you consistently in 3rd and long situations. Otherwise, they're not consistently stopping anybody. And what's been the problem for the Packers, they're not consistently playing well. The numbers sound good when you talk about passing efficiency. They're not running the ball well. And when you're not running the ball well and you're in pass happy mode, you're predictable. Nobody is surprised at anything that you're doing. And that's not good. That's not good on any level at all. And, when we look at this thing, Josh Jacobs, he eclipsed 70 yards in 8 carries, 15 games played, included 86 against the Bears in week 14. He had 20 carries and a rushing touchdown for that. So I think the formula is against this Bears defense that is not good at stopping the run, you're going to have to find your legs and get the running game going. I really do believe in Caleb Williams and this football team and what Ben Johnson has put together. As the season has progressed, we talked about it earlier in the season. If you watch this show about Caleb not being in timing and rhythm, because this is what Ben Johnson's offense is about, timing and rhythm. And as the season has gone on, he's gotten better at that. And then he has those spectacular plays where he's, Houdini's out of the pocket, buys time, throws a dime in the back corner of the end zone to his wide receiver. Those are going to be the difference-making plays, I think, that are going to decide this football game. Jordan Love, has had at least 215 yards passing in each of the last three, complete games, including a 234-yard outing against the Bears in Week 14. But again, what's the word that we're looking for with both of these teams? Is consistency. And that has lacked, whether it's defensively or offensively. And the Bears have suffered from that as well, offensive consistency. So who's going to win this football game? I'm going to tell you, from what I see here, I'm taking the Bears. And here's why I'm taking the Bears. First and foremost, I do not trust this man, Jordan Love, as he's had solid games at times, but hasn't lived up to what they need him to be. And at times, he needs to be kind of like Josh Allen, Superman, because the run game is not effective. It's not working at all. And this man here, outside of a few games, and really some of those were not his fault at the end of those games, he has been absolutely remarkable in fourth quarter situations with, I need a play, I need a big play to stay in this game. And he will find a way to do that. I think with everything going on, it is really going to factor in too on whether it's a windy day at Soldier Field or not, because that's going to decide how much passing is going to be going on. If it's too windy, deep balls aren't really that great, and because you have to get some type of arc on it to get it in front of your wide receiver. So the short game comes into play. And then the most important part is the ground game. And when you have a running quarterback like Caleb Williams that within a blink of an eye can get you 10 yards, I think they have the advantage here. I think it'll be a very close game. It will kind of be a shootout-ish type of game. I think there will be lulls in this game. But for the most part, I think at the end of the day, the Bears are going to find a way to pull this one out and go another round and get a playoff win that they haven't had in quite some time. Looking forward to both of these games on Saturday. Well, we go to Sunday, and it is the Buffalo Bills and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I said it earlier in the season, covering this team for Heavy.com and SportsJourney.com in an article that Liam Cohen is the best thing to happen to Trevor Lawrence. And he struggled early on in the season with his decision-making, not getting the ball out on time, being late on throws, not throwing guys open. And as you see, as the season progressed, he's gotten better with that. The run game has been there and has been there for the most part of this season. But this is a game of the loser, one loser is going to lose his job. And we'll talk about that. We'll get there. But I really love Liam Cohen and what they have put together here as a football team. Defensively, they are very opportunistic. They get downhill quickly. They're very good at stopping the run. You look at the Jaguars defense, and you're talking about Jaguars and Josh Allen. Well, Josh Allen has surpassed 270 yards of offense in all four of his career road games, averaging 351 yards per game, including a postseason career high of 397. And, that was against the Chiefs in 2021, their divisional playoff game. The Jaguars, though, have allowed 270 plus yards to 7 different quarterbacks here in 2025, but they found ways to win. They do a good job in postseason action. Cook averages about 66.3 yards per game on 15 carries, and the Jaguars have allowed only 68 rushing yards per game to running backs at all in 2025. So I like what we have here. It's all going to be hinged on, can we get Travis Etienne going, and can Trevor Lawrence not make the critical mistakes? Trevor Lawrence has had at least 4 carries himself as a runner in 11 of his 17 games, including 8 in his last 10. So he knows how to use his legs as well. But I don't want to see him running too much. I think ETN needs to be the bulk carrier and the focal point. I'm sure they will have some, read option type plays where we get an opportunity to possibly see them kind of exploit maybe them crashing down on the running back, so on and so forth. When you look at this game, you look at what the Buffalo Bills are trying to do, and it's what they've been trying to do over the last probably 4 or 5 years, and that's try to get to the Super Bowl. And the way they're going to get there, honestly, is on the back of Josh Allen. That's the bottom line. It's going to be on the back of Josh Allen. He's going to have to be Superman. And that's unfortunate because this year they just don't have the horses at wide receiver. They don't have a true number 1 at wide receiver. And it's going to be up to Cook to run the ball, James Cook to run the ball, and to be very effective at that. And he's done that quite well this season. You look at the matchups, and I skipped over that, but you look at the matchups here for Bills offense to the Jaguars defense. They're 6th in overall pass efficiency. The Jags pass defense, number 2. You look at overall rushing efficiency. The Bills offense, number 2. Jaguars defense, 4. They struggle with getting pressure regularly, 23% versus they handle the pressure pretty well for number 4 in the league. So very good numbers for across the board, which in passing and rushing is even. Going to be concerned about them, though, that much needed pressure to kind of get Josh Allen to rush it a little bit. And he's been known to give you some this year. And he's admitted it himself within his latest interview with the media, trying to look at things and getting an opportunity to look at things and seeing where he can be better. And he's going to have to be perfect. Only downside to this that you could look at when you're looking at these two teams is that the Jags haven't been here before. But they're not playing in Buffalo. They're playing in Jacksonville. And I expect that crowd to be another crowd that's going to be hyped. Ain't seen a playoff game, I think, since who was it? It's not Mark Brunell. It was another quarterback, and I can't think of his name right now. Was it Chad? No, not him. Bortles. I think it's Blake Bortles, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while. It has been a while. But I feel like if the Bills lose this game, this guy here, Scott McDermott, is gone. He's gone. I think I said his name right, but he's out of here. You can't go out first round. This team has been at least close to the AFC Championship game a lot in his tenure, but they seem to fall short in these big games against quality opponents. And this is going to be one that I think if they lose to Jacksonville, I think this man loses his job. There's too many good coaches out there right now. And I think this job is very enticing for a guy who most feel is the top pick at head coach in John Harbaugh. If you lose this game and you have John out there, you look at the teams that are available for coaches at the moment, and it's obviously the Ravens' job, which he just vacated. You have the Giants, who I like and have pieces, but I don't like Joe Shane being my GM in running things. Your next best job is the Falcons' job. I feel like that's a good one. The Dolphins' job is a good one. They let their head coach go today. But the Browns is not a good job. I honestly would. People say Miami's a good job. I don't see how it's a good job. You don't have a quarterback. Uh, Ownership has been atrocious. So what makes you think that you coming in are going to make it any different? I think you go where you have pieces, and there's a lot of pieces there. When you look at the Giants, if you look at Buffalo, have an opportunity to coach Josh Allen, that would be huge. But I don't think Miami's that great of a job as some other media pundits feel. At the end of the day, I think I'm taking the Jacksonville Jaguars and Liam Cohen. I really like what they're doing and have done all season long. They've had some games that have been head scratchers and, haven't lived up to par. But down this stretch of the back half of this season, they have been nothing far from what he has been trying to instill in this football team. That's discipline and, hard work and grit. And this team embodies that, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And they're scrappy and they gut wins out on offense as well. They do not lay down. They do not quit. And I just don't see enough weapons on Buffalo's side of the ball, given that their defense has been kind of Swiss cheese this year. And I don't know if I want Josh Allen feeling like he has to be the one to win us this game. We've seen that several times this year when the game has been on the line. And guess what happened? He threw INTs that decided the game. And it's really not his fault to a degree because he just doesn't have that true number one, that true number one guy that he can go to, because his tight ends and Dalton Knox has done an excellent job of finding the end zone. But when you got guys on the outside that aren't producing, well, guess what? We can lock those people down pretty easily. And now we make you go to guys that hadn't been producing in hopes that they do. And that doesn't always go well. And I like them. I like the Jaguars at home to get a win, move on, and have an opportunity to get into an AFC championship game. Like I said, this whole thing's wide open. That will be your Sunday 1 o'clock game. Sunday, 4:30. It is the San Francisco 49ers against Drag Race Mayhems and your Pro Stock motorcycle champion, Richard Gadsden's Philadelphia Eagles. Both of these teams have seen their share of ups and downs this year. Hasn't been the picture perfect year for this football team in so many ways. And it really starts here when you talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. Starts with that man. I don't really care for him when he didn't have my man who is in New Orleans, Kellen Moore. As you can see, if you go back to film before Kellen Moore got there, this team looks eerily similar. Eerily similar this year without Kellen Moore. One thing that they have had, though, despite the missing pieces up in the front seven that I feel that have kind of diminished this defense's success, is the fact that they've had Cooper DeJean playing excellent football back there. When Cooper DeJean is aligned as a wide corner on 30% of his snaps this season after logging just 9 snaps during 2024, he has notably been aligned on cornerback on 228 snaps of 231 snaps. And the Eagles use base personnel in 98% of the time. So they're not always, doing things where they have more than five backs on the football field. But he's done a really good job. He's fared better when aligned in the slot, though. And I think that's where he's better suited. When he's been outside, he's made some plays, but he's also given up a lot as well. When he's aligned inside, as he is about 50% of the time, his percentage of yards is like 5.9 yards per target. So, that's not bad at all. I think when he's on the outside, he allows like 10.9 yards per target, and that can't be good. I really like the matchup between these two. It's going to be a chess match because this is going to be about offensive coordinator, defense, offensive coordinator, head coach, offensive coordinator, head coach. Kyle Shanahan, most feel like one of the coaches that is a mastermind in calling offenses and scheming up offenses, will try to do his best to take advantage of some of these inefficiencies that this Eagles defense has produced. You look at the efficiencies here, seventh for 49ers offense, overall pass efficiency, third pass efficiency for the Eagles defense. Overall rush efficiency, 24, which is weird to hear that their overall rush efficiency is 24. Eagles defense, 10. These are next-gen stats. That's great. But I think there's some advantages here that they can take. But this man must be available for them. That's right. Trent Williams, everybody's got their eye on the injury report. And I don't think you're going to get a full know whether he's going to start or not, probably until Saturday. But that man is going to be key to Brock Purdy's success. If he is not out there, this game changes tremendously. And I expect the Eagles to fully take advantage of him not being there. They will overload that side of the football field and send blitz after blitz after blitz that they can. And to be quite honest with you, without him on the football field, they probably can get there with 4. You put your best player out there on the outside on that backup left tackle, and you go after him. You beat him up all day. But they're going to have to run the football here, the 49ers are, if they want to have success in this football game. Because I think playing into a one-sided offense of pass that's not good at all. Quentin Mitchell, Kurion Mitchell has done an excellent job at corner. He is one of those guys that is just taking the ball away and defends passes like nobody's business. You're not catching too much on him. The figure, you talk about him and it says during the span, he has managed to record more pass defenses, 9, than receptions allowed, 6. Across 29 targets faced and 233 coverage snaps, which align to the boundary, which is out on the outside. That's good. That's Pro Bowl-like. And you don't want to get into this thing of whether we're going to run the ball or pass the ball. They need that play action. Kyle Shanahan needs that play action in order to have the success. And it's going to be big for them to not only have Trent Williams, but they're going to have George Kittle be a huge part of this as well. Kittles and bits must be an intricate part of trying to take advantage of the middle of this defense. And they do a good job, too, of blocking as well when they run a wide receiver screen with old Kittles and bits. It's good. And get that big body going downhill is really hard to stop. So need all those pieces working, and they need to have, McCaffrey running successfully in order for your man, Brock Purdy, to have success. When you look at on the other side of the coin there to the Eagles offense, they're 14th in pass efficiency. They're 15th in rush efficiency, 14th in overall pressure rate. The 49ers defense, 26th. 20 in rush efficiency and 31st in pressure. Means they're not getting any. Okay? You're pretty comfy back there. And that's where there's going to be a problem. A comfortable Jalen Hurts is a dangerous Jalen Hurts because he has plenty of time to find all of his big-time wide receivers, all of his guys, whether it's Saquon out the backfield, whether it's Devontae Smith, whether it's Dallas Goedert, whether it's A.J. Brown. You get him starting to distribute the ball like Kobe Bryant, and there's going to be a huge problem there. They're a tough offense to stop. if they get the passing game going, because now they're going to have you on their heels. And when they're able to get you out of stacking the box to stop Saquon is bound to break one for a touchdown, or at least for 25, 30-yard gain. And this 49ers defense has not played well since losing their leader, Fred Warner. And once again, it says the Eagles are a 5-point underdog here. And I'm sure, if Drag Race Mayhem was here, he would be like, what? Yeah, they're a 5-point underdog here. I'm not buying that at all. You can give me the 5, and I'll take the 5 and the Philadelphia Eagles in Philly, because if they don't win, they're likely going to tear the city down. And it's going to be tear the city down and fire everybody. You're going to have people bringing down light poles and burning cars and everything else. They're going to tear the city up if they lose against the 49ers. And I don't see that. I don't see that here. I think they make it out of the first round. I think they're going to have more of an issue in round 2 than they will in this wild card round. Going to Sunday night football, and this one is going to be a fun matchup. New England Patriots back in the Super Bowl again, and back in the playoffs again since Tom Brady, and Chargers back in the playoff talks again, probably since Phillip Rivers. So it's been a long time. It's been a longer time for the Chargers than it has been for the Patriots, but I see this being a really good matchup. The defense and offensive efficiencies, let's go over those real quick. We know the Chargers have lost 2 very good offensive linemen, Joe Alt being the big name there. So they have been 24th in pass efficiency, 6th in rushing, though. And a lot has to do with, their young running back being successful, having some opportunities, and Omarion Hampton of creating plays, and really has done a good job of running football outside of him being hurt for that short period of time. They're 31 in pressure rate. As you see, if you've watched any Charger games, that is a tough thing to do, to keep Justin Herbert upright and not taking shots. They have done that in some instances where they have played some games where they have been able to keep Justin Herbert clean. A lot of that has had to do with the game plan. If you've watched the Chargers over the last probably 4 or 5 games, they have been very much run heavy because of that broken bone in his hand. And I believe that they've got a plate. I think it was surgery, but, still trying to heal that hand a little bit. So their game plan against this defense is definitely, you want to establish the run first. If you establish the run, I think there's a very good chance you can get Ladd McConkey involved. You get Quentin Johnson involved. They've had some other guys. Can't forget Keenan Allen and his abilities to make plays. So you want to have these guys get the ball out quick, and I think the offensive line will get lathered up and be able to protect better when you're running the football first. I never am a proponent. There's very few teams that can do it, but when a team has an offensive line that's in retreat mode a lot, they tend to fail more oftentimes than not. When you start establishing the run game, you're posing your will onto them. When you can have some success in that, the passing game, the pass protection, I think, comes and flows a little bit better. Like I said, there's very few teams that can do that, being pass first. When you come down to the defense of this football team, very good on all sides. They do occasionally give up plays that are head scratchers, but they are going to have to develop and get pressure on Drake May. There are a couple things here with this Patriots football team. You look at it, Drake May and company have done a really good job this season. They played really good football. Mike Vrabel's done an excellent job with this football team and getting it back to respectable, play. Drake May looks better. But let's not forget that the New England Patriots played like the 26th easiest schedule, I believe, in their history. They had a very easy schedule. Caveat is they're at home, 1. 2, you're playing a Chargers football team with a banged up offensive line. I'm going to go on a limb here, though. Chargers have played a lot of tough games. They've had to play the Broncos. They've had to let's see. Let's take a look at the Chargers schedule, as I don't remember everything. But they had to play the Broncos twice. You played the Steelers. You played Jacksonville Jaguars. You played the Eagles. Chiefs. You played Houston, a really good defense as well. They played some tough games. Can't say that too much for your New England Patriots. Toughest game they played was Buffalo in Week 5, and that's questionable because Buffalo's defense is porous. You might say Baltimore Ravens might have been a tough game. Outside of that, and I say Buffalo Bills first game, not second game. They managed to lose that game, but they really had no business losing that game. Maybe quarterback deciding factor, because it was a 31-35 ball game in Week 15 against Buffalo Bills. But they really haven't had a tough schedule. So we're going to see how this all plays out. I think if they can get out of the first round, I don't see them getting out of the second round. But I am still taking the Jim Harbaugh-led Los Angeles Chargers. They will play, as he would say, with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. And I expect him to bring that. He will have this team ready in the key, running the football and keeping Justin Herbert upright. Can't take too many shots. He can't be looking like Gunnar Stockton out there taking big shots to the chest. So got to keep him upright, got to help him be able to have time to distribute the football. And I see this being a cool game, a game that's going to be a grinded out game. But I think defensively, you're probably going to see a turnover that's going to decide this. And I see the Chargers defense being able to do that. Blake, he said, I'm not sure if you are a fan of playing video games, but if you are, I'm going to try and, yeah, I do when I can. I play more sports stuff. Right now, I'm on college football right now. So I do play more sports stuff. But I do like playing video games. It's a time to kind of let loose. And, my camera guy, Fred Warner, in here, he says, I heard that Fred Warner is here. Go Pack. Yes, sir. I don't know if you heard the first half of the show. I'm not really high on the Packers right now. I really think Caleb Williams is probably going to be the deciding factor. But again, like I said in the opening, this whole playoff bracket, all of these teams have serious flaws. And those flaws have showed up in games that have cost these teams football games. So although I am picking them, I'm picking them because of Caleb Williams' athletic ability and the fact that this football team, the Packers, have struggled in stopping the run. And now you not only going to add DeAndre Swift, but now we're going to have to play, smart football, contain the edges, keep gap sound to contain the quarterback. And I don't see Jordan Love being able to put this thing on his back and wield a win like some of these other quarterbacks that are available here. If he does it, great. It'll be great for you, especially as a owner. But I don't know if they have enough, and weather will be a deciding factor in that too. If they can air it out, I don't think they want to get in a shootout. I think the best way for the Packers, like I said earlier, put the ball on the ground, control the clock, and keep Caleb off the field. And when you do have him on the field, make sure they're in third and long situations, because sometimes he tends to panic a little bit. So that's going to be key for them to get a W. But I got the Chargers. Last game, Monday night, 8:15. I don't think we've had a Monday night playoff game. This may be a first. Maybe a first in a while. Maybe back in the day they had one, but I don't remember it too much. As there will be a Monday night football game, be the Houston Texans and Elon Warner's Pittsburgh Steelers. Look, this is a game that I don't think Mike Tomlin gets fired, but it could be a game that he gets let go if they lose. I'm not sure. The Steelers organization is a little bit more, I don't know if the word is logical, or they're not a knee-jerk reaction type football team. Obviously, they have only had like 3-4 coaches in their history. So they don't listen to fans and hear the noise, and because they make money like some of these billionaires and make knee-jerk reactions and fire people. That's just not their forte. It's not what they do. And so I'm not sure if they lose this game that he would be let go. This is a game that, if you watch the way the Steelers defense played against Baltimore last week, you'd think that this is going to be a defensive matchup. And I think the Houston Texans offense really kind of plays into the Steelers defense and assisting them to look as stout as the Texans defense, if you get what I'm saying. Numbers kind of match that. Offensive efficiency for them, 13-17. Defensive efficiency for Steelers, 28th in rush efficiency, 18 for Steelers defense, 10 pressure rate, 20 pressure rate. Steelers offense, 16, number 1 in the league in offensive pass efficiency defense. Texans, they're 8th in rush efficiency, 9th for the Steelers. First in pressure rate, though, 18th in getting pressure. So the advantage for that pressure rate is on the defensive side for the Texans. So here's how the Texans offense can have success and really kind of neutralize this defense. And it's all about running at this man, the man they call TJ Watt. If you watch film on their defense and against teams who have run the ball effectively, as you saw last week, which didn't make sense, they were running Derrick Henry away from TJ Watt. TJ Watt does an excellent job of finding his way through the gap and getting behind your offensive line and somehow clipping your running back for at least a 0-yard gain to a 1-yard gain. When you run at him, though, he cannot filter his way through that. You get a guard on him, whether you're running a counter, you pulling the guard, and the guard hits the gap there, and the guard is usually going to take out that linebacker. He's neutralized. And when he is neutralized in a game of running the football, that defense is pretty much out of gas. But as you saw last week, Baltimore running away from him, then ending up in situations where they had to pass the football on obvious downs. What does TJ Watt do? What great edge rushers do? Get to the quarterback, be disruptive. And you got to have a balance offensively. And this is going to be one of these old school games because Steelers offense, not super explosive. They do have DK, but I think the defense of the Texans can kind of neutralize him and take him away. So I really believe this game favors Pittsburgh. And you're like, huh? Listen to me. When you look at what Aaron Rodgers loves to do, first things first, they run the football, which Gainwell has run the football quite well here, no pun intended. They like to throw to him out of the backfield as well. So I don't like to call it an extension of the run, but it's kind of a little bit of an extension of the run. And when they pass the football, it's not so much about the deep ball. It's about those quick hits. They'll hit the tight end on a seam route. And they really are predicated on guys getting yards after catch. And they have been very good at that, getting those yards after catch. And nobody's better in placing the football in those spots for his players to have great success than Aaron Rodgers. They also at home, again, another football team who is starving for a playoff win. Crowd's going to be crazy. Texans defense is kind of like the Browns defense. They can play almost 60 minutes of football with a real poor offense. It's going to come down to fourth quarter. And where this Texans football team has struggled is scoring points when necessary. They are not necessarily a team that can go out and just generate explosive plays consistently. And I think that's where if they are not able to neutralize TJ Watt, and this becomes tee off with guys getting pressure and really causing disruption in the backfield, Texans don't have a shot. I think this is a 3-point win, 3 to 6 point win, and the Steelers come out on top on this. You got one of the best in the business who has closed games out when healthy his entire career in Aaron Rodgers. And I think Aaron Rodgers has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder and something to prove from last week or last year. And really from how they have played kind of off and on this year. Not very consistent. It's going to be a good game, but I've got the Steelers winning this game here in Pittsburgh. So it's going to be pretty interesting. You play sports games too. Awesome. That's just what I do. I don't really get into a lot of the other games too much. I don't want to have to think about it. It's time to relax type of deal. So that's what we're looking to do there. Before I get out of here, I don't think I have my phone with me, but we will be having on next Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday, next Tuesday, we will have on the Pro Mod winner from the Winter Series. I think his name is Jordan Harris or Jason Harris. We'll be having him on the show the next week to talk about the Winter Series, the race coming up that weekend, and he's the only one that can get that mill. So we're going to have an opportunity to talk to him, see what they've been doing since the first race that he won. And we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes for them and what they've been doing this offseason. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning into this special edition. Enjoy the football game tonight. I've got Ole Miss. People are underestimating Trinidad. Watch him work this weekend. Watch him work tonight against this U defense. Going to be a good game, though. Good night, everybody. NFL grit in my voice when the pressure gets woke. Engine scream through the night. That F1 razor lines cut clean, turn sharp like a hometown savior. NASCAR drift in my blood when the pace get wild. I talk speed like a veteran, move calm like a smile. Legends born out of sweat, out of heartbreaks echo. I break plays down smooth, caught a game like a maestro. Every lane that we touch, every story we show. This is where
where the truth runs. The Not Blend Show. Fast breaks, whole crowd froze. Big drives, deep shots, watch a moment explode. Every angle hit heavy with the champions glow. Step into the kingdom, the Not Blend Show. Fast breaks, whole crowd froze. Big drives, deep shots, watch the moment explode. Every angle hit heavy with the champions glow. Step into the kingdom, the Not Blend Show.